Hi, my name is Matt Curcio, and this is just enough to get started in bioinformatics. This fourth video will be on the bash shell or command line interface and some commands. We'll look at list, present working directory, change directory, copy a file or folder, make a directory, man pages or manual pages, and help. So, if we go to our Ubuntu desktop and we go to the top menu, press it, we find that we're at a search bar and we might type in terminal. We find that mate terminal comes up. We can press enter and we're in the command line interface. This is called a bash shell because this program is a bash program. It basically communicates with the computer and the human. So we might want to put in a command to, let's say, list all the programs or directories and files in this folder. We might put ls. And we find that we have one file, called bash.txt, and other blue folders. Ubuntu, this version of Ubuntu actually has some nice features that color code directories and files differently. And then we can use, let's say, another command called cd. And we could now change our working directory to some other directory. Let's say we could actually go to music and look at what's in the music file. Nothing's in the music file. We could actually go back to the original directory. To do that, we would press cd and then ... or back. And here we find we're back in the Ubuntu Mate directory. We can even go to the documents directory. Now, I could type out documents, but one feature that Ubuntu and the bash terminal has that is really nice is called tab completion. If you press tab, it will give you options that are listed for what you've typed so far. So DOC, there's only one DOC listed. That would be documents. I could now press present working directory, and now it shows me as I'm in the home, Mate, and documents. Oops. There we go. So let's go back using cd ... Okay. Now, you might want to say, where do these commands come from and how do I learn about these commands? Well, the best way to learn about these commands is to use either the manual pages or the help. So let's look at list. If we wanted to look at the manual for list, we would simply go man list. And here it would pop up with the manual for list. List the current directories. A synopsis is how to use that command. So you might have list and then some options and then some file. You could actually have files or a folder that might be interesting to you for you to look into. So you have all these options that would change how list works. I want to look at all. I want to look at the authors of these folders and files. I want to look at the block size, the memory space. I even want to look at, let's say, the format, or I could look at who owns these files, what group. I could even have human readable information and even look for things and hide certain folders and files. So if I want to quit out of this, I press Q and I'm back to this command line interface. Another way to find help is using ls -help. These two commands, man pages, man, and help, are very important in learning the commands. You'll need to go to these commands very often to learn about the different functions of all of the Linux and Unix programs that run in the bash or in other programs that you install. So if I press list help, I get this nice formatted version of help, and it is basically the same thing that is shown in the manual. It shows me how to use it. it shows me some information about it, and then it shows me its options or things that I can do to switch the operations of this list file. So I can have it ignore certain files. I can have it ignore, let's say, the documents folder. So let's try that. I go back to the command line interface. The one thing I like about help is it puts you right back into the command line interface, so you can scroll up and down and then use that right away. So I might say ls and then we'll look for the ignore pattern. Okay, and we'll simply use / ignore, and we'll put in documents. Let's try this first. Nope, we need to use parentheses. So before it showed desktop, downloads, and documents, but now we've hidden this folder from anyone to see, or from us to see, basically. Another thing you might want to do is move files around. So I can move this file into the documents folder, know where it is basically later on. To do that, I would use cp, or copy. Let's look at the help. So copy. Usage. There's an option, there's a source, and a destination. That means where are you, what are you trying to move, and where do you want it to go to? Here again, what do you want to move and where do you want it to go to? There are all sorts of things you can do to this. You can archive things, you can force things to occur, you can make it interactive and ask you each time it does something. There might be things that are in a directory or in multiple folders inside your one folder, and it can work recursively, moving through each file and then the folder and then the files inside the folder, and keep going until it's all copied over. So let's simply move the bash text file into the documents. We'll do that by using one new command called sudo. The reason why we have to use sudo, or SuperUser Do, is because we do not have many permissions on this system right now. It doesn't know who the owner is and who the user is for this system. We have not told the computer that yet. So we now have to use permissions and SuperUser permissions to change things. So what I want to change is the bash text file, and I want to move that into the documents. Documents. The slash at the end tells the documents, tells the computer that this is a folder. And we're not in that directory. So let's list the files in that again. And we do have bash, but let's say we want to, I know what happened. Maybe you can copy that. We talked about copy, but we didn't even put that command in. So here's one error that came up very quickly and easily. But this happens quite commonly. So since we know what happened, we can easily change this and type in now our proper command, sudo cp bash.text, and then documents /. It's taken that command and it's used it and it's copied that bash file into documents. So now I can do this. We still have the bash command here, the bash folder and file here, but we also have documents. Let's see what's in documents. Let's change the directory to documents. Now, one thing that I'm going to show you is called tab completion. I could type out the entire name, but sometimes the names are very, very long. One feature that the bash shell has is called tab completion. If I put in a certain number of letters, it will show you the possibilities for what I have written down. DOCU, there's only one possibility, documents. So I'll press tab, and it says you must mean documents, correct. So I am now in the Documents folder. Let's do the ls, or list, what is in that folder. And we find that there's only one thing in that folder, which is the bash text. So, we've looked at man pages, which are manuals. We've looked at help, ls, pwd, cd, change directory, and now let's look at make directory. So, let's say, for example, we're in the documents, but we want this file to be in a folder for project 1. We want to say project 1 is in our documents directory. We can now say make dir. We might need the sudo command, but let's try it without. Make dir project 1. It's taken it. So let's look at the ls again. So now it has two things, a folder named project 1 and the bash file, bash text file there. Again, we want to copy it into the project. We can say copy, bash, press tab for completion, and then press capital PR and then tab again, and it knows that project is available. Press that, list it, okay, it's copied it, it hasn't moved it. So now let's look at the project folder. Let's go into and change the directory to project. pwd, what directory are we in? We're in the home, Ubuntu Mate, documents, and projects. What is in that folder? Let's list, and we have bash.txt. That's a starter, and we'll have some more commands in a moment. Thanks.